We got a green dot here. Todd Fitzwater with Firestone Falcons All Sports Boosters, and I am privileged to have in front of me, or on the meeting with me, your principal of Firestone Community Learning Center, Mr. Larry Johnson. How are you, Mr. Johnson?
I'm good. How you doing? What's up, Stone? What's up, families? How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's safe and staying home and staying close to your families.
That's right, staying close to your families. And speaking of families, how are you and your family staying connected to the outside world with this social distancing and the stay-at-home order that's currently going on? What are you guys doing that's unique to your family, Mr. Johnson?
Nothing. Honestly, it's really caused us to pause and taking us back to a family time when we were younger, when we didn't have access to the rest of the world in the way that we do now. So we put our phones down every day around the same time. We gather around the dinner table, which we haven't always been able to do because everybody's so busy. And we play board games. I mean, we watch movies together. We watched the new Troll movie together as a family, and it reminds me of a time when my children were younger and we had so much control over their day. As you know, as kids get older, you know, they're pulled in this way and they're pulled in that way. There's athletics, and you know, on a regular day, I'm up and out of the house by 5 o'clock, and then I'm back home on average by 7 o'clock, 7:30. And that's a good day. You know, there's sometimes I didn't get back home until 8:30, depending on what was happening at the school. So now when I'm able to get home at 3 or 4 o'clock, it's really forced us to slow down and really take note of the things that are really important.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. I mean, here at the Fitzwater household, we move at 1,000 miles an hour between the sports, you know, with Zane, Ryan, and Tanner. You know, it is funny. You go back to when they were kids, and it does slow everything down. And it's kind of unique because the conversations now that our kids are older, they're different types of conversations. They're more mature. They're well thought out a lot of times. This goofiness is still there that you only find within your immediate family and all that. But I'm curious to see, you know, when we get back together with everybody, will we still can take some of these new norms with us moving forward as families? It'll be interesting to see.
Absolutely. I firmly expect for everything to be different, and the status quo is going to move. And I think some of the habits that we have now, like, you know, perpetually washing your hands, how careful you are when you go into the grocery store. All of those things are things that I think are going to be new norms, as you just said, moving forward. But, you know, one of the things I hadn't really noticed is when you spend so much time with your children, you don't really know how they're maturing until something like this happens. You know, I had a conversation with Addison and my youngest daughter, and it was neat to sit back and listen to how they string words and thoughts together that they didn't do before or that I didn't notice. It's so neat to have that one perspective to see, oh my gosh, like they're growing up. The way they strung that together, that thought, that concept, the way they saw it was really interesting. And this, I mean, for everything that this time is, it certainly has allowed me to see different perspectives or different glimpses into my kids' lives that I hadn't seen before or hadn't noticed before.
Right, and it's a unique time, and it's something that we as parents should all kind of cherish and really self-reflect on. And it looks like you and your wife have been doing that, and it's cool. It's obviously it's a crazy time, but it's pretty neat. Speaking of Addison, how is he doing with he's a senior, with not being in school right now? I know he goes to STEM high school, not being able to play sports. And how is he working towards his college readiness outside of school right now? How does that look for him?
This is an interesting conversation. We were just going through his graduation pathway with this school, and we're preparing for next steps for him. And we're just talking through what are his ideas. You know, what schools is he looking at right now? He's looking at Kent State, Bowling Green, Akron U. I'm a little apprehensive.
If he's going to Bowling Green, he could room with Zane. So
I'm a little apprehensive that they're going to open up fall schools on campus in September. I'm just I'm just a little apprehensive that that's going to happen. So our last conversation, we kicked around the idea of waiting until January to go full time, to go away to a college campus, and maybe considering sticking at home and maybe doing a Stark State here at home until everything blows over. Now that could change, but I don't know. Things are just, it's weird. It's
Well,
weird.
it's an interesting conversation, and I saw an article that was posted by one of our Falcon families, and the gist of the article was that they had reposted was maybe you're better off waiting a year before you go to college so that it does get back to what a normal collegiate experience would look like. I don't know the answer right now. I know it's going to be different moving forward, but if Zane goes to a Stark State and he's in the classroom, or if it's online, whatever the case may be, it's an interesting conversation. It's a real conversation we need to have as parents. And let me ask you this: what advice would you give to the seniors right now, your Falcon seniors that are looking at college or looking at going into the workforce? What would you leave them with right now with the current situation?
Whatever their plan is, and a lot of our seniors, we know how seniors are. They have their plan, and they've been focused on that plan for 2 years. Addison has been going to college since he was a freshman, right? I know I'm going to college. I know I want to be in education. Whatever your plan is, stick to it and chase it as hard as you can, given everything that's in front of us. However, don't be afraid to set up a real good backup plan that allows you an opportunity to still chase that dream and still go after what you want. Maybe not immediately, but in the very near future. I know we've got kids that are going to some pretty high-powered academic schools on some serious scholarship money.
Sure.
So I don't think those scholarships are going to go anyplace. Never mind a college experience. If we take that and look at it secondarily, what does it look like for a kid? Because, when you go off to college, this is your chance to be an adult. You make the decisions on where you go. And a lot of times as 18-year-olds, we make some really stupid decisions. We do some, speaking for guys, right? We really do some really idiotic things. An idiotic thing in college with this pandemic going on could cost someone their life. And it's, I don't know. I would say chase your plans, go after your dreams, whatever it is that you plan for, go after it, but have a really good backup plan in place, because you don't want to be caught. You don't want to be caught unaware and not have a plan in place.
That's great advice. And I think right now during this time is you could sit down with your child as a parent or as a mentor or as a grandparent, who's ever in that decision-making process, and really come up with a good plan, whether it's college or the workforce or whatever the case may be. You really have a unique opportunity while everything's slowed down to have real, well-thought-out conversations about your future. The bottom line is this: life experiences are important. And you're right, we made a lot of stupid decisions when we were 18 years old and in high school, but the real world starts very quickly. And it's going to be interesting, but I love your advice, Mr. Johnson. And I would tell people too, take the time that we have allocated to us right now to figure out what that main plan is. And now, because we move at 1,000 miles an hour, as I said before, but now we could also look at what is a backup plan potentially if number one doesn't work. And it could be something like this right here, or it could be something completely different.
Those are real viable options. And we're scrambling as public education providers to go into this digital platform. Colleges are doing the same thing. They have the exact same struggles that we do. And assuming that everything goes as planned and we open the world back up sometime in the summer potentially, and we get back to some sense of normalcy, everything is great, right? Everyone goes off to and they plan their lives accordingly. But if it doesn't happen as planned and life throws another curveball at us, if you have to stay online, places like Stark State the Army Reserve are viable options for kids looking to go into a real world experience where they're going to get everything that they need. They can take some time to just slow down and let the world catch up to them, because colleges are going to be scrambling too. They're going to be hit hard financially, just like all these employers. So again, you're right. Put yourself out there in every single avenue that you can, and do not get stuck in one place. Falcons are, if they're nothing else, they're flexible, and they're prepared to do a lot of things. So don't get stuck in one corner of your life, because you've got a whole life ahead of you.
Yeah, and this is making us become more tech savvy, especially for the kids. More tech savvy, and I think what this has shown, and I'm an Army medical recruiter, so I still have a job to do. I still get paid. I'm very fortunate to have that position where I haven't had to change too much of my our lifestyle here, and that doesn't go unnoticed. I can tell you that. But what it's allowed me to do, and I think what it's allowed, big business is to see that I can work from home and be productive. We can do that. We could go to school and be productive and learn. So, but it's a structured environment, right? So it's interesting how this whole thing is showing people that Americans can be resilient, they can be productive from the house and all that. It's like I said, it's an unprecedented time. It's the new norm, but we'll figure it out as we go. Let me ask you this: with the new building that we have at Firestone, we've looked at some different things that we want to do, start new traditions. And Jeff Mosier brought up to me in a Firestone Falcons All Sports Boosters meeting, you know what we need? We need a big rock outside. We need a stone, a Firestone, as a symbol for our students, where they could come, a gathering place. Not right now, unfortunately, where they could paint the rock, or whether it's a theater event that's coming up, whether it's a robotics class that's coming up, or a competition, or sporting event, or whatever the case may be. So we have the spirit rock that we put on the property that we look forward to getting after. We're also going to be putting the alma mater back up in the gym. We have some new traditions and some old traditions that we're meshing together. Can you talk a little bit about that, Mr. Johnson?
So that's the interesting thing about Firestone, right? That what I love about it is that all good ideas don't have to come from one place, and that a number of people are so invested in what happens in this building and how this community moves and meshes and is such a part of this school, that we have good ideas coming from everywhere, which I love. Secondly, the way that the Firestone All Sports Booster Club has been able to support the culture and sustaining a positive culture of excellence is outstanding. I cannot say enough positive things about the work that you've done and Mr. Fuller has done around that booster club, and how you've galvanized a community so that we're all together, all around one common focus. The traditions that come over from Firestone are traditions for Firestone. One of the things that Firestone used to be was FHS, right? Firestone High School. And that was one of the things that you used to see was FHS. When we came to the new building, the high school part of that logo kind of went away because we're a community learning center now. And I was at an All Sports Booster Club meeting, and there were parents that just wanted to be Firestone, or they wanted to be FHS. And that was a discussion where I felt the need to shorten up Firestone Community Learning Center to a short, once you start talking about the stone, it just kind of seemed to fit, right? Firestone, there's a stone that's out there that will start a new tradition. And so what, we shot the video, a month before we got out of this mess. Seniors were all prepared to debut their new tradition, and then we're here. I did see a couple of kids put some cones outside of the stone, and I just kind of watched to see what was going to happen. I wish that they would have done something different, but they didn't. They just put some cones out there. It's nice that we're able to have the kind of community support from the Booster Club that the ideas come from. But this tradition was, we had a senior bench at the old building. We don't have that senior bench anymore. So we needed something where seniors could rally around at certain points. It was only for them. so the stone just seemed to kind of come out of nowhere, right? Like he gave you the idea, you made the stone happen, and then the stone just kind of happened. And it seemed to satisfy, it feels like it's going to satisfy a need for us to shorten the Firestone Community Learning Center to just, it's the stone.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting when we get our kids back and we get to watch what they're going to do with it. And, it's all about theming the building. It's all about theming sports. In the main gym, we have some new flags that are going to be going up on the right of the big American flag. That was a great donation by Ken and Carol Deese. We also have the new signage that's going to go up in the gym that honors our sports teams and all that. So I really appreciate you saying about Firestone Falcons All Sports Boosters and the work we've done. Hey, look, it's a team project. I mean, it takes a village, right? So I'm just a small part in that. But I'll tell you what's really cool is the ideas that we get, the communication that we have. We've broken down communication barriers. We're able to, communicate effectively with one another, and it's great. I mean, the amount of talent that we have in that school building there, just with our kids alone, and then you engage the parents. It's a pretty unique, I think, situation because you don't always see that type of engagement. But I would encourage anybody that's interested in getting involved, just ask, how can I be involved? And we would love to bring you on, and I want to hear your ideas. Mr. Johnson, I know you want to hear their ideas and all that, so please engage us. But I appreciate the comments, and it's going to be cool when we get that alma mater back up there and we can sing that together to create that student body, that camaraderie, that Falcon pride that we always talk about. And I love the Falcon pride thing because it goes deeper than just in the classroom on this athletic fields. It goes into the community, and people in the community, from what I've seen, are starting to realize, because we're a little more visible now on social media, they get to see the great things that our kids are doing, and our coaches and our teachers, and that's pretty slick.
Yeah, it's Firestone is, I mean, as much as an academic school as any place else in this community and in this area. But when we can showcase our athletes and we can give our athletes an opportunity to go on the field and represent their school, and I always say represent our school with dignity and pride, because that's kind of who we are. That's kind of what we've become as competitors. And I just couldn't be more proud of the work that our coaches do with our kids. Some of the programs that are turning around, it's fantastic, and they put school first. My son's Addison's participated in 3 sports since he was a freshman: cross country, baseball, and basketball. And every one of those coaches have all touted the same thing: you're a student before you're an athlete. And as a parent, as a student, Addison's had a very unique high school experience. But as a parent, watching him participate in sports, it's one of the things that I'm going to miss. I'm going to miss how the coaches have interacted with him. It's just a class act, and it's one way that parents can see who Firestone is. You can't really see in a book. You can't really gauge what a school feels like on a report card, but you know what that school feels like when you come and watch a baseball game, when you go watch a softball game, or you come and see Firestone and book their play in the volleyball in the gym, or you stop by that swim meet for just 15 seconds and sweat out in that auditorium. I mean, you get a chance to know who we are just by how we compete, and it's one of my favorite things.
And you get to see, for example, I know the Firestone wrestling team has gone out to the Highland Square and to go watch a movie together, and the camaraderie that we have amongst the different teams, and then meshing those guys together. But to see the way in which they interact as a group in public is awesome to see, because they understand, they get it. But that comes down to you, me, the teachers, the parents, and reinforcing what being a good steward of the community of the Falcon Nation is about. And it's something that we have to continuously talk about and make it where it becomes memory. But I'll tell you what, our kids are doing it the right way within the community. We talk about the academics at school and how well versed we are, which is awesome to see. Recently we've lost someone I would say that you're never going to be able to replace, and that is Mr. Dan Spak. And my memory of Mr. Spak is just how engaged he was with his students. And as you put in the letter that you sent out to everyone, how authentic he was and how he always fiercely defended his program and looked for resources for his program. But I could always remember that smile, man. His smile always made me feel good that day, and he made me want to be better. What's a thought? What's a really good memory of Dan Spak that comes to mind for you, Larry?
There's two things that jump out. The first one is how he loved his wife in public and in front of everybody. And as a husband, it's one of those things that I was talking to his wife, and I hope I'm not going to get in trouble for sharing this, but she said that he told her a week before he passed that the reason why he always told her he loved her, or he always called her his love, is because he told her that tomorrow is not promised. And it's not a show for him. He was, as you said, he was authentic in how he cared for his wife. Every year for his birthday, he asked the choir to come and sing to her. And he stood back and watched his wife. He didn't look at the choir. He looked at his wife as she just enjoyed it. They held hands leaving the building. Like, as a husband, that's what it's about. And his wife never wondered for a second who he was or where he was with her. And the second thing that I will take is, I'm a pretty sarcastic guy by nature. My wife would call it a curse. I can't help myself sometimes. Dan he was sarcastic, but he was witty, and he was always quick to turn a phrase. He loved his kids and he loved his program, and he would defend it. And he was such a great strategist. It's the Bill Belichick of it all, right? It's knowing what I want to do in 5 years and how right now is going to get me to that 5-year mark. He was a master at that. And I just,
it's tough, man. It's tough.
I'm going to miss him.
Look, sometimes there's no words, and especially when it comes out left field like that. And, he was beloved by his students. And it shows in the article that was written in the Akron Beacon Journal, and kids that have graduated over the years, how they stayed engaged with Dan and the program. And I remember meeting him, I want to say back in maybe 2009 when he was doing Project Lead the Way and all that. Anyways, it's tough. And then our athletic trainer, Kyle Harper, lost her mom this week. So it's been a tough week. And then we have another Falcon family whose mom right now is quarantined with COVID-19. It's just, and the problem is it's tough to get closure on something like this because you can't go give Mrs. Spak a hug and say, maybe not say anything, but just give a hug. But it's tough stuff, Larry. It's tough stuff. But we will never forget what he's done. He's a part of us. He's a part of Falcon Nation, a part of that school. And we will find a fine way to honor his memory and the work and service that he's done for Firestone and for everyone involved. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he's part of the DNA of this place, and there's so many plans that he and I had for this school and for his program that we haven't yet seen, but these are things that are going to happen probably in the next 2 to 3 years that were hatched in just, some of our just typical, here's what we want to do, here's what it's got to look like. And he would say, I'm going to retire soon, Larry. And I was like, Dan, you got to give me, at one point I was saying, you got to give me 3 more years. And the last time we talked about it, he was like, I don't know if I got 3 years. And I was like, just give me 1 more. That would have been 2 years. I said, just give me 2 more years. And he just looked at me. He just smiled and he said, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, he laid the foundation of success, and that success is going to be continued forward. Whoever steps into that role, and but man, what a lineage, what a legacy that man has been able to create. You know, Larry, you often say that it's a privilege to be a principal and to be the principal of Firestone High School Community Learning Center. What does that really mean to you? Can you share with that what it means to be that it's a privilege to be the principal of Firestone?
Um, Dan captured it. He owned his kids and he owned his program. And at Firestone, there's so many corners of this place. There's so many wrinkles where there's somebody standing in that wrinkle. There's a teacher, there's a kid, there's somebody who says, this is mine, and here's what I want to do with it. And as a principal of a building of this size, you know, I learned very quickly that this is not going to be the place where I'm going to have all of the ideas. I just need to be in a space where the ideas are generating and then support the fruition of those ideas. To say that I serve this community is exactly what I believe. Like, I mean, all the way down to ASA, to dance, to IB. I mean, those are programs that are here before I came, and there are people that are standing in front of those programs saying, this is the vision for this program, and I don't need to come in and change that. I need to be able to support that. So, and that's just teachers. I mean, you spend 15 seconds with some of these kids in the hallway, and I bet you there's about 100 ideas that kids give me every week about something that they want to see. My job is not to make sure that I have the ideas. My job is to make sure that I can get the ideas to the ground. And if I can stand behind everybody and make sure that they have the autonomy or the freedom to say, I want this to be my school, and this is what I want it to look like. I used to say, this is your school. We're outnumbered.
Right, sure.
There's only one of me. There's 1,300 of them. They know what they want more than I can tell them what they should do. And if I can do the best that I can to stand on the sidelines and put them in front, and put kids in front, and put teachers who want to champion kids in front, to me, that just makes me happy. That reminds me of what I came into this job to do. And I know there's other ways to be a principal, and I know that other principals do it differently. And I know that there are some really good principals across this district and across this country that may see things differently. I'm a dad who happens to be a principal, and I see each one of these kids in the same way that I see my own. And I want for them the same thing that I want for my own children, is a place where they can come, have ideas, and go get it. And if they fall, I'll be there to pick them up. That's kind of how I see, when I say I'm here to serve, that's kind of how I see it.
Absolutely, and that's fantastic. I appreciate that sentiment, and I'll tell you what, when you say it, I believe it. And you know, I can tell you this, that my principal has bigger triceps than any other principal out there. And I will tell you this, that loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage, the acronym for that is leadership. Those are my Army values. Those are the values that I live by and strive towards every single day in every action that I make. What keep me above reproach, I like to think, and allow me to have success in my life. And I would tell you this, you exemplify that acronym of leadership: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, integrity, and personal courage. Having the personal courage to stand up for your students, having the personal courage to engage a student, say, that's not the right way to do it, here's the right way to do it. Sometimes you have to say yes, sometimes you have to say no, sometimes you just say, have you thought about it this way? I've seen you do that in the halls, I've seen you do it with your staff, and it's really cool to see you work your magic and really take in what's given to you, and the respect that you have for your staff, and listening to their ideas and, you know, where they want to see the school go. I can appreciate you taking in all that information and doing good with it. Integrity. I know your integrity is above reproach when it comes to leading the school. Loyalty. You're loyal to Falcon Nation, to the alumni, to the kids that are in that building. honor and respect. You treat those kids with dignity and respect. Where a lot of times you'll find people in leadership, when they're dealing with youth and students, they talk at them, they tell them, they don't converse with them. You don't do that. You treat them with dignity and respect, and I think that's very important. I'll tell you what, if we would all stop and slow it down one time when we walk through the halls, do you know the kids in those halls? You do. You may not know every single name, but you know every face in that school, much like your staff does. But I'll tell you what, I learned something new every time I talk to a new student there, and they're all respectful. They're all fantastic. But in closing, let me ask you this, Mr. Johnson, what would you leave? What are your words of wisdom for not only our seniors, but for our underclassmen? What do you want to say to Falcon Nation about just in general, what's going on, and keeping that positive mental attitude? The floor is yours, Mr. Johnson.
I think I will have our seniors think about this from the perspective of learning, growing, moving. I would want them to be determined that despite all the obstacles, life is not about when things are going right. I mean, when everything is going right, that's easy. Anybody can do that, right? Life happens when things go wrong, and you have to figure it out. And this is a time where life is happening to us in a different way, and we're gonna have to figure it out. And these seniors, I've been with these seniors for 4 years. We started in this building together 4 years ago. So these are kind of like my babies. I'm the only principal left that started the building when we opened this building. And I have a special relationship with all of them. They don't always like what I have to say. Some of them don't even like me. But I absolutely adore their spirit, and I'm crazy about who they're becoming. I would ask them, I would say to be determined, to focus on service, to find something that's bigger than you. To find someone who you can help, because this time right now, if they could just close their eyes and not be a teenager for just 10 seconds, they'll see this world is impacted, and their worlds are impacted. And there's a way for them to do and give to something and someone that's outside of themselves. And lastly, when they go in the world, just focus on excellence. It's not going to be easy. Life is going to kick them, punch them, and drag them down. And it's in those moments that they find out exactly who they are. And I'll tell you, here's an example that this senior class reminds me of. Last year, I screwed up, right? We were supposed to have a Black History program, and the Black History program was planned by seniors that were here last year. It was supposed to be a 32-minute program. And in the first take, it was almost an hour. And we couldn't put it in front of the kids because it was just too much. It was too long. So we ended up compromising where we let them do the show, but we only opened it for a few people to see. And I mean these seniors drugged me on social media. They were relentless. Every time they saw me in the hallway, they let me have it. This year we had the same plan. Students planned and delivered a Black History program that just brought tears to my eyes. I didn't have anything to do with it. I mean, honestly, if I'm being transparent, first time I saw it was 10 minutes before we aired it. It was right on time. I knew kind of what they were going to work on because I saw the outline and we talked a little bit, but I didn't see the program. And screwing up in the way that I did, and then them trusting me to come back and fix it, that to me is who they are. They're resilient. They want what they want, and they're going to get it one way or the other. And it was done right, and it was done the right way, and it was perfect. So this senior class, take it. Take these hits, take these bumps. Prom is going to be different, graduation is going to be different. But on the other side of it, you're going to be better because of it. I promise you that.
So it's funny, a quote that I used that my mom gave me coming out of high school was, adversity brings out strengths we never knew we had. And I firmly believe that. I've seen that play out time and time again at the age of 44. I've seen it. Adversity brings out strengths we never knew we had. And, it's cool when you hear a story, when we give them the leniency to go ahead and do a program like that, Black History Month. We trust but we validate. That's what we do as leaders. That's what we do as parents. It's what we do as administrators. We trust but we validate. Mr. Johnson, I will tell you this. On behalf of Falcon Nation, we appreciate your leadership. I appreciate our friendship as well. That's developed over the years. The way that I can communicate with you. If we have ideas, you're more than willing to listen. And it's always good to have that ear. Some ideas are great. Some ideas are not so much, but to be able to have that open conversation, always understanding what the main thing is, and that is our students. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's about these students and providing them an opportunity to have success in their life. And like I said before, if anyone wants to be a part of that, or be on the PTSA, or be on the band board, or be on the robotics class, or their boosters or whatnot, get involved, get engaged, because at the end of the day, it's about these kids. You've heard me say this, and we've had this conversation, Mr. Johnson, that I only get one shot at this. You only had one shot with Addison. I only get one shot with Zane, and Ryan and Tanner and your other kids. Put in the effort now, because it's gone. It's gone. Just like that. So put the effort into these kids, and they'll blossom and they'll have success in their life. And it's a great position to be in. You may not be able to do it yourself, but what you can become is a facilitator. And if you can't do it for them, you always know someone that can help them out. And that's pretty cool. Mr. Johnson, I really appreciate your time today.
Absolutely. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Go Stone.
Go Stone. We'll talk to you soon. I look forward to seeing you in person and maybe getting out on the links this summer.
Oh man, that's gonna be ugly, but yeah.
All right. Falcon Nation, go Stone, Firestone all the way.